What's up, everybody? I'm Sara.
I'm Shauna.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Bobby. And this is Speaking of Missing Persons. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Speaking of Missing Persons, and welcome to the new listeners. Before we get into today's episode, a little bit of business. We have two other shows, Speaking of Murders and Speaking of Hauntings. Make sure you check those out. If you want to see photos associated with today's episode, check out our socials. Those are all linked in the episode and show description. We have a Patreon, so make sure you're checking that out. You get bonus episodes every other Saturday, and it's awesome stuff like Heaven's Gate Cult and murders around celebrities, werewolf trials, stuff like that. So make sure you're checking that out, getting subscribed there so you can get those. If you have a missing person case that you would like to hear on the show, send that over to our email. That's missingmurderedhaunted@gmail.com. No spaces, no underscores, nothing like that. Just missingmurderedhaunted@gmail.com. So, all of that said, Sara, tell us about a missing person.
Love to, Bob. So today I'm going to tell you about a girl that Bobby actually asked me to tell the story.
Yeah, I requested this one.
Her name is Patricia Adkins, but she goes by Patty. She was 29 years old in 2001 and was the single mother to a 7-year-old daughter that she shared custody with her ex-boyfriend. Patty got a job straight out of high school at the Honda factory in Maryville, Ohio, and had worked her way up to supervisor on the assembly line she worked in. So she had been working there for 10 years at this point.
Dang.
So something cool about Honda, which I don't know if they still do this, but back then, every year they did something called Shutdown Week. And it kind of sounds bad, but they actually gave their employees a week's vacation for 4th of July. So it was like a company-wide shutdown. Everybody got, I think it ended up being like 10 days
Oh, wow.
for
Damn.
4th of July.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, isn't it?
And they were paid?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, Patty worked really hard at Honda and rarely did anything for herself. So when she told her family and friends that she was going on vacation for the shutdown week with her boyfriend, they were happy for her that she was, finally going to
Do something for herself.
do something that, didn't involve work or her daughter or whatever. Her boyfriend worked at the Honda plant as well, but on a different assembly line. They often spent a lot of time at work talking to each other. They played cards together on their lunch breaks. He wanted to keep their relationship a secret. The reason, obviously, was he was married with kids.
Of course.
The pair had been having a somewhat secretive relationship for about a year at this point in 2001. And I say somewhat because Patty's whole family knew, and she had told like some of her co-workers that she was really close to, that they were in a relationship. So people knew.
Gotcha.
But I don't know if he knew people knew, if that makes sense. Patty had been telling people that he would not be married for much longer because he was telling her he was going to divorce his wife like very soon and they were going to be together. For the vacation, the couple was going to go to a remote cabin for the week in Canada. The plan was they were going to take his truck you're looking like you have questions.
It just sounds like an odd vacation to take.
Yeah, I mean, they're in Ohio, so it's not like that far from Canada, I don't guess, but still.
It's not the
That is
distance.
still
it's
an
the,
odd vacation.
Well,
To
he
me-
is described as being an outdoorsy type of person, like fishing, hunting, all that kind of stuff. And she really liked that about him. Not necessarily that she was an outdoorsy person. She just liked that about him, that he was. On the last day they worked for the week, which was June 29th, Patty took her dog and 2 cats to a boarding facility, and she dropped off her daughter with her ex. She then got a ride from a coworker so that her car was not left sitting in Honda's parking lot for the week and, didn't look suspicious because they were leaving like right after work that night, and they both got off at midnight. So they worked second shift.
Okay.
Patty had arranged for her sister Marcia to watch her daughter when it was time for her to be picked up from her dad's house. So Marcia was supposed to get her daughter back in the middle of the week. Okay? She told Marcia she would be back home on Sunday, July 8th around noon to pick up her daughter. Plus, the family was having like a big barbecue for the 4th of July that day. So she said she would be back in time for the barbecue. Well, Patty clocked out that night at 19 seconds after midnight. The plan was she was going to get into the bed of her boyfriend's truck under a tarp cover. So it was like a cover. It wasn't the hard kind of cover. It was like the softer cover.
Yeah.
10-0.
Yeah.
10 out. 10 out.
Yeah, I couldn't say the word, so I just...
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming you know the ones that we're talking about. It's the ones
Yeah.
that kind of like snap on, and it's a soft canvas type of thing.
Yeah. Well, he had installed this specifically for this trip. The reason that she had to hide in the bed of the truck, according to reports, was because he carpooled to work and he was giving another coworker a ride home after work, and then she was supposed to stay in the bed of the truck until he dropped that guy off and then get into the passenger seat, and then they were going to go on this vacation to Canada. Everybody following so far?
yeah, it's just sketchy as
It's
fuck already.
Very... Yeah, super sketchy. And what did he tell his wife he was doing for 10 fucking days?
I was
we'll
wondering
get to
the
it.
same thing.
Okay.
We'll get to it. Now, if that all wasn't weird enough, he told Patty not to bring any luggage on the trip, saying it would be hard to explain why she had it at work. Instead, he told her he would just buy them whatever they needed on the road.
Why
No.
the fuck couldn't they just stop by her house?
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. She did, however, bring a small overnight bag, but it was just like toothbrush, toothpaste, her wallet.
Okay, hold
Stuff like
on.
that.
Let's rewind. She got into the back of his truck when?
19 seconds after midnight.
Okay, but that doesn't explain her car still sitting in the parking lot.
No,
she
she
carpooled.
So
She
This is what
rode.
she was saying.
She rode with another girl, so her car was not
Okay,
left sitting.
my
in the
understanding
parking
was that she was going to... I don't know what I was
She
thinking.
boarded her pets, then dropped
off her
Carpooled
the
with
kid
a
with
coworker
with the
to
ex.
work.
Right,
Okay.
carpooled to work.
Yeah, so that her car was not sitting at the Honda plant for a whole week. So she had no car there when she got off work that night. She
Right.
got into the bed of his truck, hidden under this tarp.
Yeah, but I still don't understand why she couldn't have just drove herself to work if he was going to take someone home.
Because he told her not to.
Why couldn't she just go home after work, get all of her shit, and then him pick her up from there?
Yeah, I don't.
Seems very dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
So no one heard from Patty for the whole week. It was not strange to them, though, because she didn't have a cell phone at this time, and she had told them, like her family, that it would be difficult to make phone calls because I guess the cabin they were going to be in did not have a phone. So at first they weren't thinking anything of it, that they hadn't heard from her.
Right. It was kind of expected.
Yeah, they were kind of not expecting to hear from her throughout this week.
What year?
2001.
That's okay. That's extra sketchy also because I'm sorry, if I had a kid, you would have a way to get the fuck a hold of me.
Yeah, I would want some form of contact. Okay.
You would have a way to get the fuck a hold of me. What if something happened to the kid?
Don't know.
That's dumb.
Did he have a cell phone?
Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. When Sunday at noon came and went, and there was no sign of Patty, Marcia got super worried. She started calling Patty's house over and over again. Like, I watched interviews with her. She said she was literally hanging up, picking up, and calling right back over and over again. When she got no answer, she called the boyfriend's number, pretending to be a customer of his side business. So not only did he work at Honda, he had a side business, which was an auto body shop.
Okay.
So his wife answers the phone when Marcia called the first time and said he wasn't home yet. This made Marcia feel like a little bit better because she's like, okay, well, he's not home yet, so that would explain why Patty's not back yet. And she decided she would wait a little longer. Maybe they were just running late, like got stuck in traffic because it's the holiday, whatever. When Patty was still not back in a couple hours, she called the boyfriend's phone again. This time, he answered the phone. He told Marcia he didn't know anything about a trip to Canada and that he barely even knew Patty.
The fuck?
He denied that they were in any kind of relationship. He had never went on vacation with her, and he was a married man. Like, he didn't know what she was talking about.
Oh, hell no.
The fuck?
Okay.
He told Marcia he knew her from work, and that was it. Unsure of what to make of all this, Marcia filled out a missing persons report on Patty around 7 o'clock that night. Unable to sleep, though, because her sister is missing, she called the boyfriend's house back at 3 a.m.
Oh, shit.
She told the wife about the affair and the trip. She also point blank asked him if he killed her sister. She described both of them as being super calm and the wife denying that he could have been having an affair. Like, the wife said he didn't have time for that.
Did his wife confirm that he was out of town?
Yes, but we'll get to that. So, the Union County Police took this case, like, very seriously. They did not believe Patty would just vanish and leave her daughter behind.
Right.
Plus, she had been at Honda for 10 years. She was, like, very good at showing up for work. Like, she was a very good employee.
And she sounds successful.
When they searched her house initially, they found no evidence to suggest she was forced to leave, obviously.
Right.
They spoke to the boyfriend. He allowed them to search his house and business, but kept denying that he was in any kind of relationship with Patty. Like, he was like, sure, you can search my stuff. I worked with her and that's it. Like, I don't know her on any kind of personal level. They interviewed his wife also, who said there was no way, like I said, that he could have been having an affair. She said with working at Honda, their side business, and helping her with the kids, he didn't have time. It just wasn't possible. That's what she kept telling police. He told detectives that the night Patty disappeared, that he left work at midnight, which it was confirmed that he clocked out at midnight. Like exactly midnight. He and the co-worker that he was giving a ride home to stopped at Burger King and were in line for 45 minutes. He then got home at 2:30 a.m. Okay. He then spent the rest of the weekend with his family and then went on a small fishing trip. So him and his wife are claiming that happened on a Friday and that he was home that whole weekend and then went on a small fishing trip when the weekend was over.
And what about the coworker he gave a ride to?
So when police asked the manager at Burger King about that night, like how busy it was, blah, 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 they were told that between midnight and 1:30 a.m., the restaurant had only made $18.
Oh, Lord.
So the longest anyone would have waited was 10 minutes.
Okay,
Lord.
caught in another lie, sir.
But the coworker that he had given a ride to confirmed what the boyfriend said we waited for 45 minutes.
The fuck?
Okay.
I believe the manager who made $18
Right.
because he knows what he actually has no reason to fucking lie.
Okay. So Patty's coworkers that knew about the relationship said that it was more of an emotional one, that they spent long hours talking to each other. They played cards together every night on their lunch break. The coworker said that they had only met up outside of work a couple of times in that year, like, and had sexual contact a couple times. Patty's sisters don't think they ever did because she never told them that she ever met him outside of work. Like, this trip, the way Patty made it sound to them, would have been the first time they would have had a sexual relationship with each other.
Okay.
That in this year leading up to it, it was an emotional relationship. Like,
they were having a
emotional affair, pretty much. Like, she really liked talking to him. She thought he was
so
smart and
essentially
funny.
he was more than likely leading her
Yes.
on at work because he enjoyed her attention and she became very infatuated.
Right, correct. So if this was true, it makes sense how he was able to pull it off because he wasn't seeing her outside of work.
Right.
He was just having a work relationship with her and, like you said, leading her on. In his house, police found items that Patty had given to him that she bought while on other vacations. So at one point she had went to Florida with her sisters and her daughter, and she bought him a Harley Davidson phone, like a house phone, that I think was shaped like a motorcycle, you know.
That'd be
Right.
cool.
And she bought him a Hard Rock Cafe t-shirt. When they asked his wife where the t-shirt came from, she was like, I have no idea. He just had it one day.
Are you kidding
But
me?
her sisters said we were with her when she bought that stuff in Miami
For him.
for him. She said, I'm buying it for him.
I'm just going to throw that out there. If a shirt just randomly appeared, I'd be asking all sorts of questions.
I mean, it depends on if your husband likes to go shopping. But if it's like an actual Hard Rock Cafe shirt from Miami, Florida that says Miami, Florida on it,
Yeah,
I'd
I'd
be
be like-
asking questions. I'd
If
be
it
like,
just like randomly appeared in the house one day.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
I'd
I'm
be like-
saying.
Interesting.
did you really?
When did you go to Miami?
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be a whole ass thing.
Agreed. They also found a birthday card to him. He tried to say it was from all of his coworkers, but it was only signed by Patty. Nobody else had signed it. So obviously it's not from all your coworkers.
Right. That was not a work birthday party.
No. So now we're going to, this is like the most fucked up thing ever, okay? So on top of all of this, on that Sunday when she didn't come back, Marcia and one of Patty's coworkers went to Patty's apartment to like look around before they filed a missing persons or whatever, and they found money bands in her apartment. So, like, the things you use to
Yeah.
wrap up money. So when they reported her missing, they told the police, like, hey, she has all these money bands in her apartment. Police found out that Patty had been loaning the boyfriend money, and not just a little bit. Like, since they had started dating, she had loaned him $90,000
Holy fucking shit.
in a year.
It's insane.
What the fuck? That's a year's salary.
That's more than a year's
that's-
salary. That's insane.
Where the fuck was she getting the money?
Oh, I'm going to tell you. So to get that money, she took out a second mortgage on her house.
Oh my god.
And
This poor fucking girl.
and she withdrew $30,000 from her 401k.
oh
my
my
God.
fucking God.
Why did she do this? Because
For his
he
side
told
business?
her that the only way he could divorce his wife is if he could buy out his portion of the side business so that in the divorce his wife could not take that from him or get any money from it. So
This sneaky bastard.
Patty wanted their relationship to move forward, and her sister knew that she had loaned him money, but not how much money.
She didn't know it was $90,000.
Correct. She did know about the $30,000 from the 401k, and she, like, for real was like, Patty, what the hell are you thinking? And, like, getting mad at her. But Patty was like, I mean, I'm okay with it. He says he's going to pay me back. I'm really just trying to build a future with him.
Honestly, I'd smack the fuck right out of both of you.
I'd smack the fuck out of you.
Yeah, too. Exactly. That's my point. Shit.
Don't take out a second mortgage for a fucking bastard that you have never met outside of work. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Your work husbands and wives are not worth that kind of bullshit.
Fuck no.
It's fucking ridiculous.
So it gets even more shady because, yes, they had proof that she did this, but they actually didn't have proof because it had all been done in cash.
Oh.
And he never put any of that money into any of his bank accounts. So
Well, of course not, because his wife would have seen that.
right. So yes, they knew she took out the second mortgage. Yes, they knew she took this $30,000 out of her 401k. She had told her family that she had given him the money and what she had given it to him for, but there's
no proof of it on his end.
Right.
That fucking bastard. Okay.
Right. Now, before this,
The wife's in on it, isn't she? Never mind. I'm sorry.
before this, Patty was very financially stable. She had her shit together.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. She sounded successful as fuck.
She had her shit together. She was taking care of her daughter, taking care of herself. She had a house. She had 401k. She had savings. She was doing really well for herself. But because she did this for this dude, she was kind of hurting. And
I'd say so.
she had told him that he had to start paying her back in July because she was going to have to pay penalties on that 401k and she
Right.
couldn't afford to pay the penalties. So he was supposed to start paying her back in July. When does she go missing? In July. Before July even starts.
Interesting.
While searching his property, cadaver dogs hit on an area of concrete that had been, like, freshly poured. They dug it up, but they found nothing. Now, people argue about this because this concrete mixture was left over from another project he had done. And police never searched that area. So the concrete could have had, like, her scent on it if it was mixed with the concrete used
From a different project.
And they've never searched that first area where he laid concrete. They also noticed that while searching his truck that he had all the pieces for the cover, but the cover was missing. It was found on his property, and they took it. But a coworker told them that the cover had been installed on June 29th. This was the day
that she
went missing. So it was installed that very day.
And then he immediately took it off.
Well, then, no. He removed it a week later.
So that sounds like he kept her in the bed of the truck for a fucking week.
Well, he told the coworker that he only needed it for that fishing trip. And the problem police faced was his story could, like, a jury could see that his story could make sense because this specific truck he used to haul things for his business. So having that cover on there would have hindered him in his side business. But when they did forensic exam on this cover, they found cat hairs that matched Patty's cat. DNA matched. They were definitely from her cat.
So it's confirmed that she was somewhere around.
She was in the bed of that truck. And a small amount of blood. Small. Like some people said a drop. Like it was a small amount of blood. In 2001, forensic technology was not very good. Like it is now. And they ultimately decided not to test the blood.
I mean,
And the reason was they feared that it wasn't enough to give them a result and then the sample would be wasted.
so did they keep it?
That makes sense, but still sucks.
The blood has remained in evidence since 2001 and no one has
Can we test that, please?
tested it yet.
Yeah, does anybody want to test that shit?
Exactly.
Please
Like,
test it.
Why don't we do it now?
Oh, that's what a lot of people on the internet are questioning. Like, we have the technology now. Test it. Prove that it's her blood. That
Come on,
definitively proves she was in the bed of that truck.
Exactly.
please test it.
No sign of Patty has been reported since June 29th. She has not used her bank account, her credit cards, nothing. Like I said, her family believes that he did this because she was expecting him to start paying her back in that month. And he was like, shit, I don't have any money to pay you back. And if I start giving you money, then my wife is going to know what's going on. So he had to get rid of her.
I'm with Sam, though. The wife kind of seems sketchy as shit, too.
Yeah,
That's what her sisters.
I feel like the
feel.
wife has a hand in it. Definitely. If this woman is willing to give you $90,000 without ever meeting you outside of work.
Yeah, that's... He just took advantage. That's it.
Well, Marcia believed Patty was murdered from the very first phone call she had with him that Sunday. Like, to the point where when she hung up the phone with him, she called their brother and said Patty's dead. She knew it from the second she talked to him that day, and he said he didn't know her.
I would probably have that exact same feeling.
Well, police agree with her. Police completely agree with her that Patty is dead, that she's not just missing. The family had her pronounced legally dead, and the police are treating her case like it's a homicide, not a missing persons investigation.
Gotcha. So they're treating it kind of like an unsolved.
Yes. To them, she would have not left her daughter. She wouldn't have went through the trouble of boarding her animals. And she also had future appointments, like to get her hair done, shit like that, like, you know, normal girl stuff. She had appointments that she set up right before she disappeared. So they're like, why would she go through all this trouble
If she's just going to disappear.
Yeah.
I mean...
And not only that, she was in line for another promotion at work, and she knew it. She knew that she was up for another promotion, and she liked her job. Like, why she didn't just leave.
She had
She
no
has-
reason to
There
leave.
was no reason for her to just walk
She's
away.
got every reason to stay.
Yeah. The problem is they have no proof of a homicide
They have no
because there's no body.
concrete evidence.
Detectives on the case say
Terrible. That's terrible.
that was too
Sorry.
much.
You can cut that out.
That was a me joke.
Yeah, that and
I
yeah.
mean, you know what though? Fucking dig it up, test the blood. Like, come on, we got all the technology and shit. Dig it
Yeah.
up, test the blood.
I'm sure if we get an update, we'll put an update in a future episode.
Yeah, because lots of people want that. We should like start a petition, like test Patty's blood.
Right.
Is-
Test the blood on the tarp.
So detectives on the case say that they are going to treat her disappearance as a homicide, though, like, until they're given a reason not to. So unless she physically walks up in the police station and is like, I'm Patricia Adkins, I'm alive, they're assuming she's deceased. Murdered, I should say. The boyfriend did take a polygraph test during the initial investigation, and all detectives would say is he was deceptive in some of his answers, but they won't say what questions were asked or anything like that. Despite all of the circumstantial evidence, police have not released his name or named him as a suspect.
That's bullshit.
But
Yeah,
it
I
makes
think they're
sense
just-
at the same time.
I think they're just playing it close to the hand until they have something a little more solid to go at him with.
Yeah, I think so.
Like I
I feel like they also
understand,
don't
but
want
it's
him
bullshit.
To run.
to run.
They don't want him to run.
So there is a $25,000 reward for any information leading to the recovery of Patty. It was actually raised by the community. When she was last seen, she was wearing her white Honda uniform. She was 5'8", 120 pounds, blonde. It was like dirty blonde hair, hazel eyes. She had her ears and belly button pierced, and a tattoo of a bluish green flower across her lower back. If you have any information, you can call the Union County Sheriff's Office at 704-283-3789.
You look like you have a question.
I don't have a question. I'm just confused. I'm not confused about your story or anything, but at this... Okay. Why would she trust a man that she lent $90,000 to buy her all the things she was going to need for 10 straight days?
Yeah, that, like, I'm sorry. Red flag 1, get in the back of my truck.
I think
red flag
it's-
2, there's
okay.
no phones there. Red flag 3, bring no
Evidence
with
that you
you.
were fucking there.
bring no luggage.
Like, straight... But
Okay, we're gonna like pivot here to our speaking of murder and, you know, remind you of Ted Bundy and how manipulative and charismatic and how he
I
could talk
I'm
girls
sorry.
into anything.
Literally anything, I know.
There are people in this world that can talk you into anything.
I'm just saying.
And it's unfortunate, but
And if she was in this spot in her life where she was lonely and she was a single mom and she was like,
yeah, I feel like he preyed on her.
yes,
Sorry.
he did. I feel exactly the same way. Like, he took advantage of the fact that she was lonely. She was the single mother, and
he knew she was successful.
he knew she was successful. And I would also like to point out that her daughter is grown now, like in her 20s. And she's like going to school to be a freaking neuroscientist or something. Like, she's super intelligent.
Heck yeah.
Good.
She split her childhood between Marcia and her father.
Well,
Really?
that was sweet that he's let her have custody,
But I watched,
basically.
yeah, but I watched a video, like an interview with her. It was so sad. She's just crying the whole time because she was 7. She remembers everything about her mom.
Right.
And she lost her at 7 years old over something senseless, and she's gotten no justice
Yeah, there's
for
like
it.
Can we please test the blood? If not, dig up the concrete.
This is why I requested.
Yeah, and
this
I was
case
mad at
because I
Bobby
know
because I was like, what the hell,
I know
Bobby?
it could be classified as an unsolved murder, but we don't actually know for sure. All we know is that she's gone. She ain't around anymore, but we don't know exactly what happened.
I mean, we've done a few of these cases where they could be cold case, like
Unsolved murders?
Yeah, but since there is no proof, it's a missing.
Right.
It's absolutely devastating.
Sorry I did that to you guys, but blame Bobby.
Yeah,
I blame you.
I did request this one.
It's absolutely devastating. And
I do want it.
he's
It's
at
like
peace.
It's like I want them to just test the blood. Just test the blood. Prove that something happened to her in
Right.
there. Even if she just got a freaking cut.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, if he's not giving you information, like, how did they know she climbed into the back of his truck?
People saw her when they were getting off work. Like,
It's
Or maybe she told
and
the
she told
coworker.
her coworker, like her best
play
friend
by play
coworker,
what was going to be happening. Gotcha. I mean, that makes sense.
like the coworker that went with her sister to check her house that day. She had told her exactly what they were supposed to be doing,
yeah, and
that coworker tried to talk her out of it.
well, good, because as
So
a
did
friend,
her
you should.
sisters. Her sisters begged her not to go. They were happy that she was finally like doing something,
But they would have preferred her do it by herself.
that was not what they wanted her to do.
Right. And I don't blame them. But you can only do so much.
Agreed.
Well, that's shitty. Okay.
All right. If you enjoyed today's episode, let us know. Hop on wherever you're listening. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a review. Share it with your friends, your family. If you have a missing case that you want to hear on the show, send that to our email, missingmurderedhaunted@gmail.com. No spaces, no underscores, nothing like that. Just missingmurderedhaunted@gmail.com. Does anyone have anything else they want to add in?
No.
I'm angry.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.